Hey, what's up? This is Václav. Back in 2021, I made a video walking through my dashboard, how I use my Home Assistant, how I interact with it. Now, let's fast forward 2 years to 2023 and see how it evolved. Do I still keep the same or has it changed? Well, let me tell you. I have kept it until mid last year. But since the summer 2022, I use completely new dashboard based on a completely different idea. Let me show you. At the time, my objective was to create a dashboard that would contain all the information on a single page. So when I would open it, I would have everything on my fingertip. I was also trying to make the dashboard rather smart, so there was quite a few conditional cards that were showing only when they were relevant. So this was the main page, and then I had another page to control multimedia, another page for heating, weather forecast, and so on and so on. And it worked great, especially on a desktop when I had a lot of screen estate, I had a fast internet connection and a quite powerful computer, so I could see everything on a single page, including video stream, and I didn't have to worry about slow internet connection and so on. It didn't work so great on a mobile phone. So what I have done is I have created a separate page that I have designed initially to be used for mobile phones. So there was a single page where there was no videos. So when I wanted to see videos, I had a separate dashboard for those. But for the rest, I had a simple screen that would normally fit on a mobile phone screen. And it worked great on a mobile. In fact, it worked great even on desktop, and I liked it so much, so I'm now using it as my default dashboard. So let me show you how it works. It looks rather simple, but don't let it fool you. It actually contains a lot of information. The main part is down here on the bottom, where you can see all the rooms, all the parts of the building. So you have a bedroom and the kids' rooms and so on. And for each room, I see the lights, and I can actually control them from here. If I hold the mouse button or tap it on my mobile phone and let it go, it will turn the lights on and off. And I could see the temperature in the room. But when I click on it, I will see all the devices that are in the room. So on the very top, I see some status badges. So in this case, the temperature in the room and information whether the windows are closed or open. Then I can control the lights in the room. Then in this case, because in the room I have shutters, I can control those as well. Then the thermostatic valves, and I can control the temperature between a high and low temperature, which I can set up in here. That one is controlled automatically based on the time of the day, but also based on the presence. So when someone leaves the house, it'll automatically set temperature in their rooms to low. And when they're returning back to the house will set temperature in their bedrooms back to high, and I can control the temperature in here. And also in a couple of rooms I have a media player, so I can control that in here, so I can turn it off and on and set the volume, and I have a couple of buttons with my favorite radio stations. So this is one of the rooms, and I can show you similar one. For example, in the office where I'm right now, where I also have media player, a couple of smart outlets. I also have heating, but I do not have the shutters in this case. So these are all the rooms in here, and I'll show you in a second how I made them. But not all the devices, not all the controls I can easily assign to a specific room. So for that I have three buttons on top. One is for the house in general. So if I click on that, I can set up the overall general global modes for the heating. So you've seen that in one of my previous videos. There is auto, echo, on, off, on vacation, and I can set up a couple of global binary inputs, outputs here, and also here for the automations, override, disable, enable groups of automation in here. I also have some general power monitor in here, so I could see where I'm consuming energy in my house right now. I'm gonna show you one more dashboard I created for the power. And in here I also see my favorite garbage collection icons, when they're gonna happen. And other controls like the mains water valve and the pump for the swimming pool, which obviously now in the winter it's turned off. So this is the house. Then I have one more for the weather. So if I click on that, I can see that there is no severe weather warning. I could see temperatures outside and in the pool, weather forecast, and the longer weather forecast for the area where I'm in. So that's weather. And then I made one compromise because there were certain things I liked about the old dashboard. So I actually brought parts of it to this dashboard as well. So I created few views that are organized by domain. So if I click on that, you will see actually the view that I used for the heating. So I could see heating in all the rooms, all in one screen. So if I want to check it out, I don't have to click room by room. So that's one. I have the same thing for the lights. So if I would like to quickly turn on the lights on and off or see which lights are on, I can do that here in this view as well. And I have the same with the window shutters, with the blinds. And that's basically it. Here on top I have the badges I already mentioned about the alarm system, the information about the weather. And here I have a view about my electric car. So it's currently at 42% and it's not charging. So there's 0 minutes remaining to charge it fully. And if I click on it, it will take me to a view with the car. But in fact, this view is the same as if I would click on the garage. So it's the garage view where I can see the status of the car. I could see the camera in the garage, and I can actually open and close the garage door and control the lights. Then, one of the things which was slowing this dashboard down was that I included video stream on it. So the way I did it is I create a separate dashboard with the cameras, and here I have a tabs with the camera in front and in the garage, and then I have another one from the garden and one from inside, which currently the cameras are off because the alarm is disarmed, but those cameras will automatically turn on when we leave the house. I also created one more dashboard for energy management. There is a default one delivered with Home Assistant, but I like to create a My View that gives me a little bit more visibility about where I'm using energy over the day and which devices are currently on. This is a Grafana dashboard, and I have included this Grafana as a web page view in here. So I have two of those, one for the consumption and one for the solar panels. So this is essentially the dashboard I use. This is one of the biggest changes. I don't try to fit everything in one dashboard, but I created different dashboards for different things. So now let me show you how I created such dashboard. In my dashboard, I use 3 custom front-end components. One of them is a kiosk mode, and I will show you how it works and how to use that one. The other one is Mushroom, which is a set of cards which I'm using in my dashboard. I kind of like them. They're simple, they're lightweight, and they have a consistent design. So all my dashboards are using Mushroom cards mostly. And then finally, I'm using a layout card, which is allowing me to have absolute control about how the dashboards or views are rendered. And I'll be talking about it a little bit more as well. None of those are mandatory. They're optional, but I'm using them and I will be showing you what they do. First, about the kiosk mode. So once I install the kiosk mode, what it does is it will hide the tabs on top of the views in here, because in fact, it looks like I have only one view, but I have more, right? If I click to the bedroom, it will show, in fact, a different view, and normally you would be switching between them using the tabs here on top, but they're kind of hidden. If I would like to show them to you, I can actually say disable kiosk mode, and you will see how it would look like without the kiosk mode enabled. So here I can switch between those like here using the tabs. But because I created a view for each room, there is too many of them, and switching them through the tabs wouldn't work. definitely not on a mobile phone. So this is why I prefer switching between them using the buttons on the dashboard, and I prefer to use kiosk mode. To enable the kiosk mode, all you need to do is go to the hacks and install kiosk mode, and then once you're in the dashboard, you need to go to edit dashboard, go to the row configuration editor and add this on top. Kiosk mode, hide header, true. So this is all I'm doing. I'm hiding header. Kiosk mode then can do much more. There's lots of more options. You can check the documentations, but I'm only using it to hide the header. So that's that. Now, if I would like to show the header, even with this kiosk mode enabled, you just add question mark disable KM, disable kiosk mode in the URL like I did right now. And I need that if I would like to edit the dashboard, because without that, if I would just get rid of it, I wouldn't even see the menu to edit the dashboard. So if I would like to edit the dashboard right now, I will in fact go to this disable kiosk mode. So that's the first one. So that's the kiosk mode. The second one I'm using is the layout card, and the way I'm using it, if I go to edit dashboard, in here, in those views, if I hit edit, it will add a couple of view types. So the standard one is masonry, and what it does is, if I would go in there, it will automatically resize, like you see right now. It will decide to put part of the controls wherever it decides to put them. So right now it decided there is a space on the right side, so it put them in the right side. And if I would make it more narrow, it will switch it under that vertically. And I kind of do not like that, so I like to have it under control. So in this case, I have just switched it to vertical, and it says it's using layout card. And with that, I have a simple vertical layout. In some of the other views, I'm using, for example, here in the house, I'm using rather complex view, which is called grid. But I'm gonna go to this one a little bit later. I'm gonna show you how that works. So, so we're here on the home page in the main view, and let me show you how those buttons work. So I'm gonna go to the edit dashboard, and what it is it's essentially a 3-column grid card. So let me show you how to create this one. So I'll say add card, I say grid, and once I add the grid card, I'm just gonna go and open it, I can add individual cards into the grid. And for those cards, they're here numbered from 1 to 9. The ones here in the below, they're mushroom light cards. So this is how the mushroom light cards look like. So to add those, I'll just hit plus here, and I will say mushroom, and I will select the mushroom light card in here. So this is how the light cards look like. So in here I can basically select the light that I'd like to show in here and the icon. And because I'm using a group of lights in this case, because I have multiple lights in the kitchen, and I have this plus in here because I'm showing kitchen and dining room at the same time, because it's the same area. So I have this light in here, so it's light kitchen plus, that's what I call it. It's a group of lights. And then I selected this icon for group of lights. And that's pretty much it, but I have made a couple of changes. First, I said I like to have a vertical layout, because with the default layout, it looks like that, and I didn't like that. So I like the vertical layout that shows it like this. The other thing I have changed is I said for the tab, I ask it to navigate to kitchen. And kitchen is the name of this view in here. So if I cancel in here, I go to kitchen, edit. So this is the URL, kuchynia in Czech, but it means kitchen. So when I was in here and I was editing the card, it was 8. So I was saying navigate to this view in here. And then I changed, when I hold it, then I told him to toggle the light. So turn the light on and off. And for double tap, I left it on default. So this is one thing I changed. I changed the behavior on tapping to navigate. And because by default, tapping would show more info. And for hold, I set it to toggle. Now, that's pretty cool already. But for the buttons in here in the rooms where I measure the temperature and humidity, I wanted to do something a little bit more even. So I made it even more advanced. So if I go to the second one, here I'm not showing a mushroom light card, but I'm showing mushroom template card. And in the template card, I have absolute control on what is shown in there. So again, it's using the light in this Clara's bedroom in this case. It's the same. I have here the icon that I can configure as well. But then for the color of the icon, I can control it by template. So I'm saying is the color is gray by default. But when the light is on, I'm turning it to orange color. And then I have a couple of lines of information. For the first one, I just show text Clara. So this is the title of the room. But for the second one, I have a template that shows combination of the state of the temperature in the room and the humidity in the room. So this is what it shows in here, the temperature and the humidity. Again, I'm using vertical layout and I configured the navigation the same way as I did for the light card. So this is a little bit more advanced. This is optional. You don't have to do that. If you would just use the light card the same way as I did for the kitchen, it would essentially do the same thing, except in here, I wanted to also show the temperature and the humidity in the room. So as a result, on the main dashboard, I could see temperatures in all the rooms, which I thought is pretty handy. I can also show that to you in the code editor. If you would like to see it or copy it, this is how it looks like. Right? So this is that. So this is a grid of 3 columns with all those mushroom cards. Here I'm using the light mushroom cards and here template mushroom cards, and I have shown you how they're configured. Then I have this text in here. It says rooms and it's a mushroom card. I can show you how it looks like. It's a mushroom title card that just shows what it says, title. That one is essentially the same, so it's buttons and they just have an icon, they have a color set up, and then I'm using the tap action to navigate to those places. I could probably do a little bit more, I could show some information in here, but for most of the information that is relevant for the house, I show them on top here as a badges, so I don't overload it with information. And then I have here information about the persons, but this is the standard entity filter. So that's that. And I'll also show you the badges in here. So what it is, it's again a mushroom card, but it's a mushroom chips card. And what it does is it shows you different badges. So the first one is the menu. Then I see the chip card with the state of the alarm, and then for the weather. And I'm also using template cards. So for those, I can show you how they are done. I can control the color of the badge, of the icon, and then the content. And again, I can use it to navigate. In this case, I'm navigating to the garage view. And in all of those views, they're configured essentially the same. The only thing added in here is, so the first chip card, it's essentially a back button. So there is a selection if you would like to add additional chip cards, you can add back button in here, and this is what it does. It will just return you to the previous views. So this is how all the views are done. This one is also based on the vertical layout using the layout card. I promised you I'm gonna show you the house one, the complicated one. So I'm gonna click in there. This one is using a grid view. So I'm gonna show you it's using grid layout card. And to use the grid layout card, I have a full control about how the cards are set up on the screen. So if I would show you, let me get rid of this maximized view. If I would start resizing the screen, I could set up a breakpoint. So if I would reach certain size, they will jump, in this case, into 2 columns in here. And if I would further resize, there is, I think, one more breakpoint, and they'll be set up horizontally. So this is mainly for the mobile phone. If you know CSS cascading style sheets, this is what it uses. It's again optional, a little bit advanced. So I did it in a way that in the view type I selected grid, so not the vertical, but grid. I would use vertical. It will just show like that. But I wanted to have it, because it's a little bit long, I wanted to have it slightly better. So I said I'd like to use the grid. And then for the grid, I have a configuration in here. I said for the grid template, I'd like to have it in 3 columns. So 33% and 33%, and the middle one is automatic. So essentially it's 33% as well. And the number of rows is auto. And then I have set up in those 3 columns and in those rows which of the cards will go to which of the columns and which of the rows. So it'll set up grid. This is how the card looks. So the grid will have the 3 columns and automatic number of rows. And I said I'd like to have a card that has this is assigned to be a header to occupy all 3 columns. So that's why I put them in those 3 columns. Then I wanted to have a heating card in the 2nd row in the 1st column. Then the card which I call icons 1, I named it this way, in the middle, and automations on the right. And I wanted the automations to spread across 2 rows. And so on. So this is decision I made how I wanted to set it up, and the power will be split across 2 columns, and the 3rd column will be empty. So this is how it looks like. If I would switch it back to the grid and say save, this is how it looks. So there is the header which goes across the screen. Then I have those 3 columns in here, and those ones are the icons, and those ones split across the 3 rows and so on. So this is how it's set up. And then I set up those breakpoints. So this is called media query, and I have 2 breakpoints. One is under 1000 pixels. So if it's less than 1000 pixels, it'll set up layout which has 2 columns, header, icons, and so on. This is completely custom to me. And then I made another breakpoint on 700 pixels, which I set up that they go vertically across the screen. So this is great. Now you will ask me probably, how does it know which of the cards it should imagine under header, heating, and so on? It will automatically not do that. I had to configure it again. So for example, if I go to this edit in this card configuration for the heading, if I show it in the code editor, I had to say view layout, this is grid area header. So I had to edit that in the YAML code. So again, a little bit more complex. So once I edit this text in there, that it knows that this is the header. And for this one, if I show it in the code editor, this one is icons 1, and so on. So this is my custom names, how I named them. Then it can use those areas in the grid template. So this is how it's done. Not for everyone. If you're familiar with CSS, if you're a web developer, then it's gonna be second nature for you. But if you are scared with YAML and you'd like to just use the visual editor to click on things, I would not even recommend doing it. I would just go to the one of the pre-configured layouts, the vertical or even the masonry. Check it out, use one, but hey, I just wanted to show you the advanced stuff as well, so you could learn something new. So that's how I use my Home Assistant now in the beginning of 2023. It'll be interesting to see if and how it evolves in another 2 years from now. I definitely plan to do more with energy management. I'll have solar panels on the roof, so I'll try to optimize the energy and the appliances. But I have no idea if and how it will influence the interface. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.